Morning. This is Clayton. Thoughts from Sunrise. I'm going to play a few minutes from A Course in Miracles, a little passage, and then I'm going to talk shortly about it to give a
The
little bit of
spirit.
insight in there.
You see the flesh, or recognize the spirit. There is no compromise between the two. If one is real, the other must be false. For what is real denies its opposite. There is no choice in vision but this one. What you decide in this determines all you see and think is real and hold as true. On this one choice does all your world depend, for here have you established what you are, as flesh or spirit, in your own belief. If you choose flesh, you never will escape the body as your own reality, for you have chosen that you want it so. But choose the spirit, and all heaven bends to touch your eyes and bless your holy sight, that you may see the world of flesh no more except to heal and comfort and to bless. Salvation is undoing. If you choose to see the body, you behold a world of separation, unrelated things, and happenings that make no sense at all. This one appears and disappears in death, that one is doomed to suffering and loss, and no one is exactly as he was an instant previous, nor will he be the same as he is now an instant hence. Who could have trust where so much change is seen? For who is worthy if he be but dust? Salvation is undoing of all this. For constancy arises in the sight of those whose eyes salvation has released from looking at the cost of keeping guilt, because they chose to let it go instead. Salvation does not ask that you behold the spirit and perceive the body not. It merely asks that this should be your choice. For you can see the body without help, but do not understand how to behold a world apart from it. It is your world salvation will undo and let you see another world your eyes could never find. Be not concerned how this could ever be. You do not understand how what you see arose to meet your sight, for if you did, it would be gone. The veil of ignorance is drawn across the evil and the good, and must be passed, that both may disappear, so that perception finds no hiding place. How is this done? It is not done at all. What could there be within the universe that God created that must still be done? Only in arrogance could you conceive that you must make the way to heaven plain. The means are given you by which to see the world that will replace the one you made. Your will be done. In heaven as on earth, this is forever true. It matters not where you believe you are, nor what you think the truth about yourself must really be. It makes no difference what you look upon, nor what you choose to feel or think or wish. For God himself has said, your will be done.
Your will be done. That's an interesting concept. I know when we're trying to manifest things and trying to approach life with goals and dreams, your will be done seems to be something in the future. And as I meditate on circumstances of my life, is I'm realizing that my will was done, the good and the bad, and that it's continually being done. It started out saying you've chosen, you want it so, and on some level of my being, it's all how I wanted it. It's almost as if I can say I've asked for it. And this is a difficult thing to accept sometimes because there's a lot of things that I've experienced that I'll say I didn't ask for, or I wouldn't ask for purposely. But we have all those layers. We have all those layers of the onion that we peel back over time, and you get layer after layer after layer. You go after hardship and good time, and this thing keeps unfolding to get to the core, the root essence of that onion. And there's this idea. They said no one is exactly as he was an instant previous, and they won't be as they are previous hence. And that one has deep implications because that means as we're approaching each other, is that we are not the same as we used to be. But you'll notice how we so easily categorize each other, and we meet each other with this history, with the past, and we hold on to that past as we're interacting with each other. And so if I have a memory of who you were to me, and I hold you to that, like I've talked about in the last couple videos, there's this. It's like the social memory complex. It's a shared mind, to where you show up as that to me. You show up as that, and it's not just you. It's that this whole history that I've held on to. It's the conditioning of the mind and all these thoughts and memories and reactions to life that are conditions. These are the layers of the onion that get in the way of perception. They get in the way of receiving you as your true essence, and that is far beyond the body. There's something inside of you that is pure and innocent and there. But when we're interacting in the world with looking at the body as reality, then then all those layers of the onion are there masking and covering up. It's that veil of ignorance. That veil of ignorance, seeing how all of my stories of the past, my past hurts, the good and the bad stuff, is coloring, and maybe the good stuff is coloring a future dream over how I receive you, into some magical thinking that there's going to be this, say, great relationship between you and I, in a way, in the future. And so there's this magical curtain drawn over of some brilliant experience that then really that gets in the way of receiving what's actually happening now. Because also what's happening now is I have all of the layers from the past overlaying how I'm receiving you in this moment. And that is the old, let's say, the old traumas, the old misjudgments, the old relationships, the old wins and losses that are coloring how I'm protecting myself in the moment. In that it gets in the way of our interaction. It says perception finds no hiding space. Perception finds no hiding space. You can't. It's all coming in. I'm receiving it. I'm receiving all this input, and this is perception is, say, like the ego, this part of us that feels separate, and it's projecting out all of these layers on top of the screen of experience. And so there's almost like there's a translucent canvas between you and me, and I see your essence behind it, but then on top of it is all of the layers of my perception, which is like this film projector coming out, playing over this canvas that's in front of you. And so we're never actually really meeting, because we're not meeting with our hearts fully open and exposed and raw. Instead, there's these layers of skin that keep covering it up. And then only in arrogance must you make the way to heaven plain. And I know there's religions and practices and all sorts of stuff. There's methods developed to get to this place. And what it's saying is that's arrogant. It's arrogant saying that I need to know, or I get to dictate how this state comes about, so I can go and sit and meditate, or I can go on, retreats, which I do both of those. Or you get into more esoteric, you get into more complicated practices like the Vajrayana or Tantra, or all these other things that are methods developed as a way to unfold all of this stuff. And while it may have some effect in the long run, to say that these methods are what you need to do in order to get to that state, it's saying that that's arrogance to think that. Not to say don't do those practices, but I know that I've met an enlightened man in my life. He was a farmer in Wisconsin, and he has no idea, and I guarantee you he did not have a practice or a method. It just happened to him. And I came across this guy when I was broken down on my motorcycle in the middle of nowhere, and I met a truly enlightened person. And it was a wild experience. It was surreal. But he has no idea. He's just living his life. So, to say that we need to dictate the method in how we open up, it's saying that from this mind that has all of those layers built up on top. And so why would I trust the mind that has also created all the confusion? Why would I trust the mind that keeps me from having a fully open, fully loving, fully vulnerable experience? And that's this veil of thoughts, this veil of the ego that's saying, hey, do this and this and this, because it knows it will continue and keep that protection up, because it can't win. It can't, I mean, well, the ego wins, but it can't beat itself, let's say. And then the part where I stopped says, your will be done, and it is done accordingly. And this is hard to accept sometimes, because as it's done to me, when someone is doing something to me and I'm receiving hurt and pain from another, when I'm very honest with myself and I've been taking a deep dive look, it's like, yes, I have just received myself. I've received my inner judgments, my inner guilt, my inner shames, my inner fears, maybe not ones that I've expressed outwardly, but then I'm receiving them from this reflection. And that's it's a really painful thing to look at, because that means that I haven't been fully open. It means that I haven't been fully receiving you for the grace that you've been giving me. And this is not, I'm not just talking to one person, I'm talking to everyone in my life, to where there's been a closed offness, there's been a protection. And I would implore you to take a look at how you do this in the world. Like, what are the methods you use to mask yourself in order to not be fully exposed, in order to protect that, protect the body, which is really housing these inner beliefs that we have. Like, what if we let go of our beliefs? What if we let go of this conditioning of the way we see the world? And is it possible to step into a new world? Is it possible to step into a new world where everyone's a helper, where everyone's caring, and we're actually caring on a way and communicating on a way where we understand one another, instead of coming to the butt heads? Because I know deep down we all do, but then we get into this confusion of defense, of justification, of pride and arrogance, and all of these other things that we really need to transcend. Gurdjieff says that in the human body is, and he's calculated this mathematically somehow too, but the human experience is the second least fortunate experience of all of possible existences. And there's like apparently one more experience that's more dense than human form, but right now we're in this super dense form, because ultimately we're just light bodies, vibrating particles of light. But we're in this body, yet we share a mind, and so there's this thought field that goes around. There's one mind that we share. So we have all these influences of the entire world, of the history of the world, and then we're influenced by stars and planets, the moon, the sun, and all of that movement, magnetic waves. There's so many frequencies beyond what the human body can perceive, and all of those influences are affecting our relationship with ourselves and others as well. So it's a really challenging environment, and then we're trying to communicate with different languages, different cultures, different life experiences, and then how do we come together? And the good news is, the Gurdjieff says that this is also the most fortunate realm, and they say this in Buddhism as well, and I think other religions as well, because we have this possibility of choice. We have this possibility to transcend the limitations, and so from that other realms of existence may not have. And so while we may be at the bottom, we can also go to the top. Robert Adams talks about this as well. He's a spiritual guru, that we can just shoot up to the top. And we do that in the moment, not by rehashing the past, not by going to make amends on things. I mean, that can help to keep things peaceful in the moment. But then can we let go of these layers of the onion and step forward into an open world where we're trusting, we are fully exposed and vulnerable and not guilty? This reminds me of a time when I was doing an ayahuasca trip, and I was looking to have my darkness revealed, because this is a way for me to see what's hidden. So I would have an intention, like, bring up my darkness. I mean, I did this for years, and so just let me see it so I can work with it, because I know it's there somewhere following me. And that creates a lot of challenges in life. And so I'm doing this ayahuasca, and nothing's happening. I'm not receiving any great insights. I'm not receiving any feeling of the medicine working at all. At some point in the night, I get up, go to the bathroom, and as I'm washing my hands, I look in the mirror, and all of a sudden the mirror disappears. There's no mirror. There's just me looking at me. And I'm standing there looking at myself, no mirror, and it's totally spotless. Completely, not a speck of dust. It's just, I could almost put my hand right through it. I almost did. I was really curious to, see if it was actually there or not. And I had this moment, this epiphany, and it came to my mind. It says, well, what if there isn't a speck of dust? What if you are pure? What if you are innocent? And that really struck me, because I didn't believe it. I still don't believe it. Like, deep down, that's there. I do have a sense that it's there. But am I living that? And I would say no. I'm living as if there's still shame, fear, doubt, all this stuff from the past. And those are these stories and these ideas that are covering perception, covering true perception. And that affects how we interpret one another. And so when you're not the same as you were in the past, as you will be in the future, as it started out with, if I'm not receiving you from my own state of purity, then I'm not able to see you and yours. And that creates, I think, if we look at how that creates confusion in the world, look at how we keep going to wars. Like, we haven't grown up very much for all of history, because we're seeing the other one as treacherous. We're seeing the other one as a threat. And then I have to reel that in and not just look at the world. I look at my own life, to how, a sweet, innocent person can trigger all of this stuff in me, to where I feel that this other person who has no ability to physically harm me in any capacity, and I would feel as if that's a threat, because I'm protecting myself from these stories, and all these stories that I've created about myself that has perpetuated over the course of my life, and they're not true. So, is that possible to go beyond? How do we do that? How do you do that in your own life? Do you have a story that you're using to cover up yourself, to mask yourself from feeling this raw, vulnerable, very open state of the world, to where we don't have to dictate how it should be? This is pretty deep stuff, I think, and it's a challenge for me, and it would be a challenge for you, to see if we can step into the world totally exposed, without defending, without justifying, without twisting stories, these hidden messages in our language, in order to protect ourselves. How we justify our position in order to seem right. I know that that's stuff that I've done. I probably still do it in ways, and I work through that. But these are the challenges to have I think a fully authentic experience. So anyways, thanks for letting me share that. Stuff goes deep. It'll continue. All right, take care.